Welcome to the Parlor, a weekly fireside chat about your favorite television programs. I am one of your hosts, Dane, and I also host the podcast Live and Active Pop Culture.
My name is Seth, also known as Moose2006. I run the YouTube channel Moose2006 LP.
Today we are going to continue our discussion of American Horror Story with Chapter 6.
Chapter 6 is directed by Angela Bassett and written by Ned Martell.
And per usual, we're going to be spoiling everything. And there are lots of spoilers in this episode. The whole episode is a spoiler.
Yeah.
So if you haven't watched up to this point, you really need to. Although, in some sense, I think you could start at this episode if you just started the show.
That'd be an interesting way to watch it.
You could almost do that.
Yeah.
But definitely make sure you've watched the other episodes and have watched this episode before you listen to this podcast, because we're going to talk about everything that happens.
Yeah. I guess, first of all, a lot of our predictions were correct.
We were right. Pretty much spot on.
Pretty much spot on. So that was exciting. And we'll talk about this as we go throughout this episode, but I have a feeling this isn't going to be the last twist.
I do too.
I think there's going to be like a trilogy.
Keep in mind, there are only 4 episodes left. I think there are only 10 episodes this season. So we're getting close to the end of this.
So this might be.
Yeah.
I thought there's I thought it was 13 again, so
yeah.
I thought that would be a lot of episodes to just do this again.
I think there are only 10.
Okay.
I'm not positive. Okay. But I still feel like this is, I don't know that we can believe this. All of this stuff that's happening. You know what I mean? Sydney, I think, the producer, he's so untrustworthy.
That and Kathy Bates's real character.
Yes, is crazy.
That puts in a huge seed of doubt in the viewer, because she could be doing all this. But I think it's ghosts. I think it's
so
real.
too. I think so too. I think because they've emphasized so much that the show originally was fake and all this stuff is fake. You guys, it's not real. It's not real ghosts. They were crazy. We're going to find out that it was all totally real.
Yeah.
Basically.
I think so.
So,
before we continue, do you want to do your one?
I will try. I don't know that it's possible this time, but we can try it.
You got it.
Okay.
And go.
So we find out this episode that what we've been watching for the past 5 episodes has been essentially part 1. Now we're watching part 2, which is a sequel to My Roanoke Nightmare. We're following primarily this episode Sydney, who is the producer and director of this. His idea now is to bring everybody who played one of these characters and the original people back into the house in Roanoke for 3 nights over the blood moon, and film it and make it into a documentary.
30.
As he sets this up, we find out that everybody involved with the production dies over the next 3 days, and we start to see the crazy things through hidden camera footage, found footage, and the filming that the actors and characters did on their phones. And basically, we're led to believe that it's real. Also, Kathy Bates' character was not invited because she was super, super crazy.
7. Anything else in 5 seconds?
Rory dies and murder gets filled out.
Okay.
I mean, that's pretty much it, right?
That's
it. Look, as we're summarizing, we'll talk about specifics.
That's the episode.
Yeah.
So, well done.
Yeah, that worked, actually.
5 seconds
I'm
spare.
surprised at that, yeah.
All right. Well, there's a lot of places to start. I've written down 13 different numbers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, some will be relieved.
Okay.
A lot of them are just I want to mention this.
Can we start and just say, are you liking this or are you not liking this?
Oh, I'm loving it.
Okay, I'm liking it.
It needed to happen.
I'm excited about it. I am liking it. I think in some ways it's a little tongue-in-cheek. Partially I think that's because we predicted it, basically.
Yeah.
100% it's
I wonder,
okay, yeah.
Would we have predicted it if Ryan Murphy hadn't have said
anything?
Yeah.
He shouldn't have said anything.
With all the secrecy that he's been doing, we've talked about this so many times, so why would he ruin that by saying
I'll
Chapter
give you
6.
even more terrible news. The week before this came out, he did another interview that was oh yeah, Kathy Bates, Sarah Paulson, Cuba Gooding Jr. all start playing different characters halfway through the season.
Yep.
And it's okay, well that's stupid.
Okay.
And then he's he previewed, and this I don't know that this is a total spoiler, but he previewed that Finn Whitrock, who played Dandy, yeah, will be back in some capacity playing one of the most effed up characters of all time.
That's what he said?
He said that. So, and I think her name's Taisa, the witch. I mean, from season 1, Violet from season 1, the witch in season 3. She's going to be back, but he didn't say anything about what she's going to play.
Could Dandy, Finn, could he be like the real
Edward
Mott?
I think that makes sense. I think that's like got to be what it is.
And he's probably a lot crazier than was depicted in the
we
Roanoke
don't know.
Nightmare.
We don't really know. He's portrayed as sort of like likable in My Roanoke Nightmare. Maybe he's not at all. Maybe he's
like it was kind
really
of accidental
horrible.
and
yeah.
So just to
and the thought here is that I'm thinking Tessa Farmiga or whatever her name is might be playing the real Wood Witch.
Okay,
could be
because we get a glance of her, but
please don't let us be done with Lady Gaga.
That's what I was. Yeah,
I need her to come back.
That was one of my numbers.
I need her to come back.
We don't see Lady Gaga. They don't mention her.
I need her back.
Yes,
she can't be done. I'll freak out if she's done.
But I assume she's done, or else she would have been in this episode.
She could come in later. I mean, who knows? She could I don't know.
Okay.
They could interview her later why she's not being involved.
So
maybe here would be an idea. Maybe she's playing Lady Gaga at this point. And so she's like, "Oh, I didn't have time to do it," or but they do an interview and then we find out what follows up with her. I could see that. I mean, we're not that far out of the real realm of possibilities. So
yeah, so we don't have Lady Gaga, we don't have Elias.
No Elias, but we see the real Elias.
Yeah.
On the video.
But it's not Dennis O'Hare.
Right, but we see the real original footage, which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
No Dennis O'Hare.
And no Fiona, which probably just because she's a child, but she is alive and well.
Flora. Sorry. Yeah.
Who's Fiona?
I don't know.
Okay. I write things down incorrectly sometimes.
Also, and this is fine, no real Cricket.
Oh, yeah.
No. And none of the sons of the butcher, like none of those people, none of the hillbillies. So we're still missing quite a few people.
Quite a few, yeah.
So we'll see what we come up with. But there's still 4 episodes. There's plenty of time for people to be brought into
so let's get there now. One of the things I really didn't like, and this was kind of why I thought maybe they had to do another twist soon, is that they already tell us everyone dies, except for one.
Except for one, which is kind of exciting.
Which I guess is the mystery, but
yeah.
That means there's 3 days. Well, like 2 more, right?
Yeah.
But there's
I think this
episodes?
was just one night. I think we still got 3 full days.
Oh, 3 full days.
That would be my guess.
And so you think the next 5 episodes will be, all right, 7, 8, 9, 4 episodes will be the next 3 days? The whole blood. Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I was under the impression this was a 12, 13 episode.
I was too, and so I'm kind of like, oh.
But if it's 10, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
I love my 8 to 10 episodes.
You love an 8 to 10. You love an 8 to 10.
I would enjoy that. So, what did you think? Did you have any thoughts about that when they displayed that text?
Oh, it gave me a thrill.
Oh, really?
When they said everybody died in this production, I was like, ooh, that's exciting.
Okay.
Like, I was like, ooh, scary. But then as we started to think about it, I was like, oh, well, yeah.
It's like, now we know.
And who's going to live? And I feel like I know who's going to live. I have my prediction.
Not Rory.
Not Rory, clearly.
Who do you think's going to live?
I think the real Matt is going to be the only one to live. And the reason is because he probably made a deal with the Wood Witch originally. And so because my thing about him, and I know we're going into predictions pretty early here, but why would he agree to go back? He has at this point 0 motivation to go back, because if you think about it, the actors, they think it's fake, so they don't care. Shelby wants to go back because she wants to be with Matt to try to get back with him. And Lee goes back to try to clear her name. She's been dragged through the mud. Matt, though, we don't hear anything about his motivation. And maybe it's obvious at this point, but he's been super creepy this episode. Super weird.
You think so?
I thought so.
I think he was distant because he was so angry.
I don't know. I thought he was weird. He said some strange stuff.
Okay.
I guess someone died, he was like, R is for Rory. It was creepy.
Yeah.
It was it was weird. So I don't know. It could be obvious, but I think that he could be have a good chance of being there. So
okay.
So that's
so that was another thing I was going to talk about was the motives behind each individual. And
we kind of talked about it.
Because that was my question was, what is Matt's? And
I mean, here's the thing. Do you buy it? Like,
by what?
Any of their motives to go back? Like,
yeah.
You believe Shelby and Lee would go back in this situation?
I think in a Ryan Murphy series. Yes.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, sure enough. Yeah.
I think in real life.
In real life, if this was real, if they were truly scared, they would not go back.
No, because they both believe what happened.
Yeah.
And so there's no way they would go back during the blood moon.
Yeah, unless they're covering up. That's the other thing. Like covering up some of their own involvement in it.
Because we did talk about, let's talk about Lee. We talked about this when the episode aired because she did leave the house for a few hours while Mason was being murdered.
Yep, and we saw the real Mason this episode, which was kind of crazy. That was.
Oh, and now I want to talk about their portrayal of things.
Yes, I do too. That's a different. Yeah.
And I don't think we ever. Let's see. I can't remember what we decided, but
I don't either. I was kind of.
I still think Lee did it. I just don't think she was under her own.
Probably
like power.
I think that's possible. Or Matt did it. That was my other thought. Like, because if
so
Matt
you think Matt's like the villain here.
I kind of do. I kind of maybe have Matt in a light where I don't really like him very much. So we'll see.
That'll make it interesting to watch next week because I didn't have that feeling at all about him. So I saw him in this like innocent. And
in the same token, it could be Shelby. I mean, it could be any three of them, but I think one of them did it for sure.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Anything else on that line?
No, but no.
Okay, so going back to over the next 3 days, blah blah blah. You had mentioned an episode or two ago how it might get Blair Witchy a little bit, and
I think it really has.
We will because it even says the show planned by producers never aired.
Yep.
This is the assembled found footage, which is exactly what the Blair Witch is.
Though, like the other thing about this is though, like, I mean, I think we do have to suspend some belief. It's a Ryan Murphy show. Like, but would any network actually air footage of people actually dying?
Oh, no.
I don't think so. So that's what also makes me think it's still kind of fake, but I don't know.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like,
so you think Sorry, you think what is it? Return to Roanoke 3 Days in Hell is also produced and
potentially. I don't know. It just seems weird that they would air any network, anything would air footage of people being killed. That seems crazy, but I don't know. I'm waiting.
You're
for
right because we see Rory die.
We saw him die.
Like that was from.
We saw him get stabbed.
That was apparently from found footage.
Yeah.
But we do know Sydney has a lawyer and he's very aware of liability. So I think as far as like trying to fit this in. To feasibility, I think we can with that logic.
Yeah,
but you're also right that this could definitely be produced by Sydney and
it's like it's okay. Like I'm cool with it. Like I want to see what happens. I want to see them get killed and stuff.
Right now, I'm under the impression that this is real. This is found footage.
I think so too. But a part of my brain is saying,
this will be a fun one to go back to and watch someday.
Yeah, I'm excited to rewatch the whole thing. Probably. Yeah, I think that'll be fun.
Do a nice binge weekend sometime. Okay, so I'm just going to start at the beginning.
Yeah, give me some of your questions and stuff. We haven't got anywhere, but that's good.
Okay, so we talked about Lee. Okay, so you also mentioned... so we've been talking about Sydney, and you mentioned the words gotcha one time a few episodes ago.
Yeah.
You said something about when Sydney would start talking to the talking heads.
Yeah.
He was a very much like gotcha producer.
Yep.
And we see that in this episode. We saw it with... when he was talking to Shelby, and all of a sudden he brings up her like weekend fling with Dominique Banks.
Yes, Dominique Banks.
And then
we're getting the names. We're doing good.
I've been trying to write them down. The X-ray, the Amazon X-ray, how they bring up.
We'll put it up.
Really helps me out when I'm taking notes. Yeah. So, and then he does it again with Agnes, which is Kathy Bates's character. And apparently, like she seems like really nice and sweet and all this, and then all of a sudden it shoots to her like drunk in Hollywood swinging a cleaver because she was maybe too much of a method actor and kind of got caught. And so that was another gotcha.
Got completely sucked into her character.
Yeah, like even in this scene when he leaves, she comes out as the butcher and starts like
screaming,
bellowing things. So I just wanted to bring up that your prediction, or not even prediction, your observance of this gotcha producer was spot on.
And he's a terrible person.
The worst.
Is what we figured out. Like he's like we now are entering this different area of like, there's a new element here that we haven't had in the first 5 episodes. So the first 5 episodes, it's like, this is a scary house. There's scary people. People are recounting this ghost thing that happened to them. People are dying, colonial ghosts, etc. Now we've got like a separate scare factor here, which is like the seedy underbelly of society.
Of like
and
reality
it's like
show producer.
Reality show producer. Like people who will do anything to do like to other people.
Knowing
like,
that we will watch.
Yes. And like
Yep.
he's a complete, probably in some ways like he's close to being a sociopath because he doesn't care.
No, he does not.
He does not care what happens to these people. So there's something.
He could be a relative to Mott. I mean, he's like that.
Yes.
He's displaying those same characteristics
Yes.
as Dandy.
And
like
so,
just,
but he's a real person. Like he's very much a person that exists in the world and that we know exists in the world and produces a lot of television that I enjoy watching.
Yep.
So, you know,
Yeah.
there's a third element now.
Definitely. And again, we don't know his involvement throughout
Right.
the next few episodes.
Right.
Is he actually hands off or is he there
Yes.
getting in the way?
Is he doing these jump scares that he had planned?
Yeah.
You know?
And another seed of doubt was the special effects producer.
Yeah.
So we don't know. We're not going to know what is what. I
Yeah,
guess.
exactly.
So, kind of well done there. Let's see. We already talked about the motives, seed of doubt. I like the new title screen. Did you catch that? So instead of like the Roanoke Nightmare title screen,
Return to Roanoke,
it was the 3 Days in Hell.
I like that. I liked it. Yep.
Okay, so talking about Sydney's kind of disconnected, kind of unfeelingness. They're having problems on set just like when Mott built it.
Yeah.
And how like accidents would happen.
Yep.
We actually see on one of the
This was horrifying.
cameras.
This was one of the worst things that has ever been shown on American Horror Story.
So they're setting up the camera, and in the background, someone is like chainsawing.
They're going to take down a log or a stump that's in the way.
Something. And all of a sudden, the chainsaw just like flips around and cuts this guy's head off.
This was horrifying.
Yeah.
And you could just see it in the background.
Yeah, I had to rewind it because I missed it.
It was
I was staring at the guy's face, expecting
like
his
you're
head
not so you don't know what's happening, but you see it, and it's like it's far enough away that you can't see the gore quite, but it's close enough that you can tell that it's real. Like what happened was scary and crazy. That creeped me out.
And so then, like Sydney sees this same video, like we're watching what he watches, and he's
like, "Well,
we're
going
to keep going. We got
Yeah.
the show has to start tonight." And
Yeah.
So my prediction of that, and we'll probably never know. They'll probably never go back and show it, but we can assume probably one of the butcher's ghosts was involved in taking the chainsaw and actually,
or just like possessing the guy and like making him do it himself or whatever.
Like
you know what? Like it could be anything.
Okay, to me it looked like the chainsaw like itself just flipped around, not that the guy flipped it around. But I guess maybe I saw it.
I don't know.
Wrong.
That's possible.
It was really bizarre to me, but
yeah.
So that is all I wanted to mention. That. Okay, so let's talk about this, because this is probably one of the most exciting or interesting features of this return to Roanoke.
Okay.
The fact that everything they're showing now that it's supposed to be real, I guess, is way like uglier and scarier.
Yes.
And like more raw,
yes.
I guess.
So you mean like the ghosts, the
wraith, the ghost, the pig man, the nurses at the end.
Yes.
And even though they were scary when we watched it, when we thought it was like the real kind of the dramatization, looking at it compared to what they're portraying it as in this episode, that seemed like super clean and friendly.
So what I'm noticing most about them is that their faces are blacked out typically. They're like dark, dirty.
They're
they're very
rotted or something.
Yes. And we spent all this time, I think, saying like, okay, so who's going to play the real ghost, whatever? Who's going to play the real nurse, and who's going to play the real pigman? And it's like, oh, it doesn't matter.
No, yeah,
because
they're ghosts.
Because
and
we're not going to see.
Pigmen.
They're garbage. Like they're disgusting. Like we're not going to see the people who play the people.
Yeah. So when we saw the nurses before, they were just people.
They were just
like
two
women
70s style
outfits,
women and nurse outfits,
and now they're like ugly, like
blackened
dark,
face,
rotted, ghost-like in these grungy outfits.
And the Pigman.
And super aggressive.
Yes.
Like, they didn't just, like, slit his throat, but they just, like, went at it. And it was... Yeah, and then the Pigman isn't... Like, before the Pigman was kind of, like, scrawny. Like, he was still ugly, but it was, like, scrawny. I think we saw him playing... Or wait, yeah, we saw him playing soccer, didn't we?
Yep.
And now he's kind of, like, bulkier and more... Like, more Minotaur-esque, I guess.
Did you notice that he has pig feet tied to his hands?
No.
So in that scene, this was kind of crazy. So in the scene where the assistant producer or assistant director gets in the car and leaves because she's like not into it, we also see Priscilla, I assume was who we saw there. She's driving off. And
wait, who is Priscilla?
Okay, so she's like really fed up about the chainsaw thing. She's like, something creepy's going on. I'm leaving. She drives off. She's got that camera. She turns it around. She's like, I'm not going to wait around to find out who that is. There's a woman or a little girl standing off in the distance. I thought that was Priscilla.
Oh, I thought that was like the Lady Gaga, like the Wood Witch.
It could be. I thought it was Priscilla because there was like a bonnet.
Oh, I thought
I saw a bonnet.
Okay, I rewound it and it looked like just like this. It was like cloaked almost.
Okay,
like her entire body.
No, that
face
could be
was cloaked and to me it was more like a wraith. Like
okay, see, I saw
she seemed taller to me than
could
a child.
be. I just saw like a little. I saw Priscilla because there was like a bonnet. That's what I saw, but I could be wrong. But again, it was dirty, dark. When we saw Priscilla before, you could see her face. Mm-hmm. She was sort of clean. This one was like no.
Yeah,
this was.
It was just like a grungy
and the first time they saw Priscilla out the window, I wasn't as scared as this time. This scared me way more.
Yes, it did. Yeah, I would agree. But then
the Pigman is in her car and causes her to wreck and kills her and the whole thing. But the Pigman reaches his hand around and he has a pig's foot like tied to his hand right here. It's to the back of his hand.
Weird.
It's crazy. It's really creepy and gross. And he's darker. He's got more dirt on him or something.
Yeah. They did a really nice job. I think
which this is interesting because this is not what we know ghosts to be in the American Horror Story universe. So we know ghosts to be as they were portrayed on the show. We don't know ghosts to be as they are now.
Yeah.
That's different. So we're breaking the formula here a little bit.
Or Sydney is. If we're, we don't know.
It's possible. It's possible.
So yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on that thing, whatever they saw.
Yeah.
Okay. Accents. Speaking of Sarah Paulson. See, Kathy Bates's didn't bother me.
Kathy Bates's is amazing compared to Sarah Paulson.
But Sarah Paulson, I'm like, did she have to be British? I mean, couldn't she have just been...
Okay, here's my thing. Here's what I think. Okay?
Okay.
It's horrible. It's one of the worst things I've ever heard.
Or
the accent. So what I think is, though, what kind of sold me on it by the end of the episode is this. So what we're finding out is that the actors themselves are much worse people than the people they're playing in the show.
Definitely.
And that's clear. Like, they are horrible people. Not for the same reasons, but because they are garbage. They're actors who are just god-awful. And I think Sarah Paulson's character is just so over the top. And she's such an actor, capital A.
She does. She was doing skits on chairs in college when no one wanted a skit.
1,000% she was doing skits
in the privacy of your own room. Not out.
Absolutely, she was
lounge.
doing skits. And she's always doing skits. And that became evident when we saw her wedding video, which was like so over the top and hilarious. But the accent is so bad because I think it's partially like it's amplified.
Okay.
Like she's like maybe a little bit British, but she like puts it on all the way.
Gotcha.
And notice that when she was screaming and scared, it disappeared a little bit. So I think it's like put on. It's not really real. Like she's just like this horrible actress type who no one would want to be around. I mean, also the time when Agnes was trying to steal, she's trying to steal my Saturn. Saturn. And it's like just drama. You know what I mean? So it's like she's horrible. Rory is a different
my
type of
God.
horrible. He's like a garbage human.
He's just obnoxious.
Dominic is a different kind of horrible. He's like such a playboy,
Mhm.
has nothing lands on him. And then I don't remember Angela Bassett's character's name. Monet.
Yep.
And she is like
Alcoholic.
an alcoholic.
but blames it on Lee.
But like sad, she's like a sad, terrible. Like she's got a tough life now. Like she's like fame has corrupted her, and so it's interesting to see how all four of these people so far, fame has like kind of gotten to them in a weird way.
Yeah. So this, when we talked about cricket during my Roanoke
this
Nightmare,
makes cricket a lot more interesting to me.
well, one thing I mentioned was that he just seemed really out of place.
Mhm.
Like he seemed really over the top.
Yes.
That's because this is what I think after this episode. That's because he was playing a character that would be an American Horror Story.
Yes. Exactly.
And now we have characters that are in American Horror Story, which means now we have characters that are just over the top.
Yes.
Super different. Like, I don't know if it's a Ryan Murphy thing or a Horror Story thing because I don't watch much else of his.
He's over the top in a lot of ways.
But every character has to be so over the top, like
is a
idiosyncratic.
capital C character. Like
Yeah.
everything is.
And
going
when
on
we
with it.
watched My Roanoke Nightmare, everyone was so nuanced.
And but what's interesting is Shelby, Matt, and Lee are still so nuanced to me.
Yes,
like
that's
they
true.
are still
They're like
so subtle.
real characters.
They're real people.
Yeah, and
Maybe Matt a little less, but
then and so this episode really like
in some of the he like underlines how bad the people are. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Mhm.
Like Sydney is like a crazy garbage person, and it's like
Clear.
it's like so clear.
There's
But
no
then but then the assistant director wasn't really, and I found her to be very believable and very subtle until she died after one episode. And same with like the executives, like they just seemed really normal, and some of the other crew people, but
his characters have
his
to
like
stand out.
characters.
Like Agnes
Yes.
has to be this.
And Agnes is one of the most interesting to me at this point.
Yeah,
I
I'm excited.
Cannot
to see
wait to see
the
what
fact that
happens
she
with
lives
her.
nearby and she's maybe going to be part of it. But
Yeah.
I just wanted to point out that that's probably why Cricket was so
stood
out so much, is that he wasn't a nuanced character.
And he was also cast in the show. We know that now.
Yeah.
Like we will not see the real Cricket because the real Cricket is dead. So we only have someone's description to go on.
Yep.
So it's like this little like man who, and so it's like very. I also loved Cheyenne Sydney's impression of Cricket.
Oh yeah,
That made me laugh a lot, actually.
yeah. I hope we don't see Cricket. And,
Oh, we won't. We won't. Maybe as a ghost, but
Maybe
as a ghost, it's like
he'll be real.
he'll be real, like nothing. He'll be
Not
like
an over the top, like
Yeah.
yeah. All right. Anything else on over the top?
Or the other thing to do with Cricket would be if the actor came in, he was just like
Normal,
oh hi, I'm Cricket, like just like nothing,
not playing a character.
not at all, which would be kind of
That would
great.
be nice.
That would be kind of great. Like we've got his character already, and then it's gone.
So yeah, this episode felt very Horror Story to me.
Yeah.
because of this.
Yes.
All right. So we have like a Big Brother confessional.
Yes.
I thought you'd like that.
Yep.
Okay. So we actually see a blooper from Roanoke Nightmare, which I thought was really
yes,
great.
I loved that.
Because we think back to watching this episode, which I think was just last week, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And this is like a
It was
very
so scary.
tense,
Like it was really amazing.
scary moment. Like Mott, the ghost, is leading them out. That was when we had that like ghost effect with the torch, and we're like super drawn in. And now we see it as like a production,
and it's like
where they had to retake
like
takes,
Shelby
and Shelby
tripped.
trips, and there's laughter, and everyone's
Oh my gosh, can we just do that
and they're all
again?
and
and
it was
he
just,
like hits on her, and it's a whole thing.
yeah, it
Like,
was so bizarre to me.
I
Like 1
kinda
week
loved
later,
it.
seeing it in like this entirely different light. So it was a really nice touch. Okay. Da-da-da.
Okay, I have a question.
Okay, yeah, we've gone through like most.
Would you now qualify this as a documentary or a reality show?
This one
Mm-hmm.
is a reality show.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I think it could go either way. Like, I mean, it's set up as a reality show, but we're using found footage now, and it almost feels more documentary-esque to me in some ways.
Well, I think
because what happens is actually real, so then it can't be a reality show anymore. Does that make sense?
No, because Roanoke Nightmare was a documentary. Like, it was informative. They had talking heads.
True.
They had
but
they were
I
trying
think,
to present information.
But I think there's this blur. Like, this is really blurring the line for me between what is a reality show and what's a documentary. Because if we are to believe everything that we're seeing so far, like, this is just found footage, and they've put it together in a way to tell a story that is supposed to tell what happened. And before, it was going to be like reality show with like jump scares and like the sink's going to explode and the glass windows are going to break in. And now it seems like maybe that's not going to happen.
So a reality show just has to be shown as it's happening?
We've got footage of a reality show, but we are maybe reframing it. We're putting it in a new framework.
Yeah, I can
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now it's like almost like a documentary.
The 3 days later would be a documentary. I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I wanted to mention, I don't know if anybody caught it, but some people on Reddit did, which was amazing. So the footage of, remember Rory is in the hot tub outside, and he hears the commotion inside.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he and Sarah Paulson's
Matt attacking.
Yes, yep, that's Dominic.
Yeah.
Yep, so they're fighting. So Rory is originally sitting in the hot tub, just kind of like hanging out, whatever. We cut to Matt and the gang fighting. We cut back to Rory, like hearing it and like getting ready to come in. And it's supposed to be hidden camera footage. The second time we see Rory, we see, if you look in the background, there's like a circle of torches off in the distance. And it's like, I didn't catch it, but it's like, wow. Like, that was actually a great detail, because we're talking 1 to 2 seconds of footage, and there's a torch. And I can try to find it for you to show you, but it's like,
I do want to see it.
It's like, ooh, that's creepy. Like,
it is.
Like, everything here is going to be so detailed this season that I'm like really excited now to like keep my eyes out for that kind of thing.
Yeah,
so.
I'll have to do that too.
We also saw for a brief second, we saw the real Mason walk by, which was incredibly creepy. Like, it was so weird and creepy. So,
yeah. Okay. My last thing, I guess. R is for Rory.
Mm-hmm.
So we've seen in this episode, basically, the actors have like their own little clique.
Yeah.
And they are very separated from the
real people. Because the real people kind of hate the actors.
Yes.
For a lot of reasons.
And the actors just don't care about the real people.
Yeah. Because they're very fancy.
Unfortunately, the first person to die is an actor. Mm-hmm. Do we think that like little clique is going to, in the next episode, blame Lee?
I think it's likely that they're going to blame Lee.
Yeah.
Because Lee was nowhere to be seen during that time.
Okay.
So, but we see the nurses doing it. Like, we see the footage of the nurses
We do,
doing
but
it.
they won't have access to the footage.
That. Yeah.
So I just wanted to...
Yeah, I think so.
That's,
I think
what I think next episode will be about.
I think we're going to start to see a war between
a lot of internal conflict
Yeah.
while they have this external ghost presence kind of taking them out. So
I just really, really hope we get to see Lady Gaga again.
Yeah, she has to come back.
I want her
she
to
might
come
have
back.
been the one under the cloak. She might still be the Wraith, like the little witch in the woods.
So. I think we're clear. Like, I think we've established very clearly that if the witch in the woods comes back, it's not going to be played by Lady Gaga.
Yeah,
it has to be played by somebody else.
Okay,
so
no, quote unquote no one.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's somebody who we can't tell who they are. So
okay,
and also I think the witch now has a name. It's like Skaketh or something like that.
I missed that. I'll try to catch it next time.
They didn't say it. It was like it's been released.
Okay.
The other thing about this character is now Ryan Murphy has said, and I hate this, and you're gonna roll your eyes.
Okay.
He has said that Skaketh or Skathak or whatever her name is, is the original Supreme. So, and that's also what we predicted. Like, she's the one who brought witchcraft to America,
yeah.
Which I'm cool with that. I'm cool with, like, she's an early settler. She had these powers. All the blood, like all the witch blood, came from her. Cool. But I don't need to see any more about that.
Nope.
Like, I don't want to know anything more about that.
Don't tie this in with Coven.
He's talked tie it in that way and leave it at
and
that.
leave it. That's it.
He's talked about doing another Coven type season.
No.
And I'm like, no,
that's the worst one.
Don't do it. But what I would be cool with would be an early Coven, like Salem Witch Trials.
Not
Coven.
so like clean and boring.
Not now.
Gosh.
Early settlers Coven, like Salem Witch Trials. Women are getting hanged, but there's actually real witches happening. Like that, I could be cool with. This season again, no. I've had enough. We have Scream Queens. We don't need it.
No.
Like we want gritty, dark, scary horror story, not Queenie saying something to Kathy Bates. Like I don't need to see that.
Or Kathy Bates like talking head in a box.
No, I don't need any of that.
That season was bizarre.
It was funny, but it wasn't
that's
good.
The thing is like it was humorous, but it shouldn't have been.
You have your humor horror show,
and so
you
maybe
don't need to go back. So if we were to do it, maybe he would do it less humorous this time, which I would be cool with. I would be cool with that. So
yeah.
So
okay.
Yeah, Scream Queens is basically Coven, like in a lot of ways. Like it's like kind of like bitchy girls, murder, but it's funny and I have an appreciation for it. I kind of like what he's doing with it, but as long as it never bleeds into what we're doing, like leave it separate. These are separate entities.
Yeah. Coven was.
Yeah.
All right. That is all my talking points for this episode.
I had a couple of quick questions.
Sure.
So, did you think that all of the actors, were like unknowns prior to My Roanoke Nightmare, or do you think any of them were like established previously? Because I kind of got the impression that they were all total unknowns, and this show was like such a hit, and like
now
fame went to their head.
That's kind of what it seems like.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Sort of. Okay, that's kind of what I thought. Maybe the exception would be Dominic. He seemed like maybe he actually was an actual actor.
Okay.
And so the other thing that's real meta about this is like, is My Roanoke Nightmare a stand-in for American Horror Story? Like, is he doing this? Like, is Sidney in some ways Ryan Murphy? Like, as a character? Like, he's always kind of wanted to infuse himself into a show, and now he's that's kind of representing him. I know we're looking at a reality show this time, rather, but it's like, I feel like there's some like bleed over there or something. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Kind of. I could see that. Like this might get sort of meta in some ways, is my prediction.
Well, it's been,
because American Horror Story originally, like Jessica Lange was maybe the exception, but everybody else, Dylan McDermott and Connie Britton, but everybody else is like we're not talking A-list actors. We're not talking Lady Gaga. We're not talking these huge Cuba Gooding Jr. We're not talking these huge actors, but the first season really kind of skyrocketed all of those people. Sarah Paulson became really famous. Evan Peters. Like all these people kind of came up and became much more
Lily
famous.
Rabe.
Yes. And so I kind of think like, maybe this is like sort of, there's something
and
to be
the fact
said
that
here.
it's in a house. Yeah. I could see all that kind of correlation there.
There's like a little bit of something there.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
For you, what was the scariest scene on this episode?
Oh gosh. Probably the one I jumped at the most was the nurses when Rory shuts the closet.
And they were there.
And they're just there.
See, I think my scariest, like the scene that stuck with me the longest was the chainsaw and the car accident scene.
Oh.
Those two both like really stuck with me for the longest. So nice. I'm excited to see where we go. Like,
oh yeah, especially if there's only 4 more.
Yeah. Also, do we think it was Kathy Bates who broke that window? Or not?
Oh yeah, I did write that in.
Do we think Agnes did that or not?
I think that could have been.
I think it could have been because it looked like her.
Yes, and all she did was break a window.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
I think if we see any actual ghosts portrayed by a character, like by an actor, like a known actor, I would think it would be the witch, the butcher, and maybe Edward Mott. Like those are the 3 that I could see actually being portrayed by actual
I could see
characters.
Edward Mott. I think the butcher will be way worse looking.
Oh yeah, but I think they would get a real actor to play that.
Well, kind of like the nurses. Like those are people.
Yes,
right?
but I mean, yeah, I know. But like they'll get a name to play those characters.
Oh, okay.
I think the nurses are like such a negligible part. Like they can do
like a name
unknown
that
actors.
we know.
Yeah.
Not that would be in this game.
Right. So I would think like maybe like we said, like Finn would play the original.
Yeah, I think
Edward, Tessa Farmiga might play the witch. I think you know who we haven't seen is she played Miss Evers last season. Remember Miss? I think the nanny or the cleaning lady for.
Was she the hillbilly mom?
No. That was Frances Conroy.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So we haven't seen her. I think she
That's
could be
true.
a good butcher. Like she looks similar to Kathy Bates in like
Or she could be the hillbilly mom.
She could be the hillbilly mom too. Yeah. If we also did not see the real hillbillies this
Not
week.
yet.
They said nobody's seen the Pokes for a while.
I think we will.
I think we're gonna see them.
Because they're terrifying because they are real people.
Yeah. And if what they said is, do you think we could see them and it turns out they're not as bad as we thought they were?
That's true. They're not cannibals.
Yeah, like maybe they're not cannibals and not crazy. They're just people who live in the backwoods and are just like.
And Shelby and Matt were scared and were saying things. Yeah.
I think that could be true as well. So, anyway, all right.
Yeah, I just wish you wouldn't have said anything about Chapter 6.
I know. I don't want to hear.
Like it would have been such a cool. Like, oh my gosh,
crazy floor is going to drop out underneath this thing. Like it would have been crazy. Yeah. So,
but it was. I mean, it's still really
good.
exciting.
I'm excited about it. I'm excited.
We knew it was coming.
Yeah.
Like, But all right.
Okay.
I
think we're good.
I think we are.
All right. If you want to send us a Parlor mail, make sure to email us at theparlorpodcast@gmail.com.
You can tweet us at the Parlor Pod.
And you should also check out our website. All of our contact info and episodes and everything are there, theparlorpodcast.com.
Yep.
On one last note, the new season of Black Mirror came out. Have you seen any of it yet?
It came out?
On Netflix.
What?
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
I thought just the trailer came out.
Nope, I think it's on Netflix.
I
haven't watched any of it yet.
But there goes my Sunday.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
What in the world? Okay. That's exciting news.
Yeah, so, we probably won't do much podcasting about it, but I might get a mention or something. So
we might in the future, I guess.
It's up.
Maybe, but
watch season 3
all 12 episodes?
I don't know if it's 12, but don't play. There are 6 episodes.
Oh, I thought that was going to be a 12-episode season.
Don't know.
Okay, well, 6 is still great.
6. There's 6 new episodes.
Oh my gosh, that's really exciting.
Yeah.
Okay,
so it's up.
Cool. Hopefully we get some Parlor mail next week. That would be exciting. So.
Let us know what you think. Who do you think is the one who is going to make it out?
And why?
Like, tell us what you think.
Use complete sentences, please.
Please, yeah. I mean, if you don't, that's also fine. Like, who cares?
No, I don't read lists. All right. That is all.
All right.
See you next week. Thank you so much for listening. Goodbye.
Bye.